Welcome to this explainer. The atmosphere is thick, the anticipation is just building, and the greatest rivalry in rugby is absolutely about to resume. We're looking at a literal collision course here. Two absolute titans of the game, completely different in their current philosophies, hurtling toward a series that's going to define the modern era of international rugby. On one side, we've got a team desperate to reclaim its throne with some breathtaking flair. And on the other, a back-to-back world champion squad that has weaponized defense and built an entire empire out of physical dominance. Today, we're breaking down the tactical war that's about to unfold.
Okay, let's dive into this. For months, All Blacks fans were practically begging for a return to the old identity. They wanted movement. They wanted risk. That edge-of-your-seat rugby instead of just checking the score out of habit. And, well, they got it. But there's a massive, looming question that no one really wants to say out loud. What if South Africa has been waiting patiently for exactly this version of the All Blacks to show up? Are the All Blacks sprinting headfirst into a snare set by the world champions?
Section 1. A new All Blacks era. Return to risk.
To understand this potential trap, we really have to look at the bait first. Under head coach Scott Robertson, the fan base in New Zealand is buzzing right now. It finally feels like the shackles are off. And hey, the results speak for themselves, right? With statement wins over France, Italy, and that massive victory against Ireland, the doubters have largely gone quiet. It's totally restored the All Blacks' risk-taking, ball-in-hand rugby identity. It's absolutely beautiful to watch. But here's the big however. The style that beat Ireland isn't automatically what beats South Africa. This new, free-flowing New Zealand identity hasn't actually faced the ultimate physical test yet.
And this brilliantly illustrates the tactical war we're about to witness. The contrast is just staggering. New Zealand's game is entirely built on keeping the ball, moving it rapidly, and forcing defenders into making complex decisions. We're talking multiple playmakers touching the ball in really dangerous positions. But then, look at the Springboks. They honestly don't mind if you have the ball. In fact, they invite possession. Their entire goal is to win the collision zone and deliberately slow your ball down. It's essentially the desire to play versus the desire to trap.
Section 2. The Springbok Physical Trap. Defensive Machine.
When we talk about exactly how the All Blacks must face physicality, we have to look closely at what they're actually running into. Let's shift over to the terrifying reality of Rassie Erasmus's defensive machine. You see, South Africa doesn't defend just to survive. They defend to attack. Their line speed is specifically designed to close space before you even decide what you're going to do with the ball. They literally invite you to hold possession, phase after phase, while their massive forwards win that collision battle underneath you. It turns every single tackle into a physical nightmare designed to just collapse your attacking shape.
And what makes this system so incredibly intimidating is that it's not just a short-term project. It's a machine. There's a brilliant quote that perfectly captures the current state of South African rugby. A society grows great when old men plant trees in whose shade they know they shall never sit. Rassie Erasmus and his coaching staff have truly put the country's rugby depth first. They aren't just coaching for this weekend. They're building a long-term empire of physical dominance that stretches all the way from the grassroots up to the national team. Section 3. A squad built for war. 43-man arsenal.
Now, what's really interesting here is the sheer scale of the arsenal they're bringing to this series. Since the last World Cup final, the Springboks have capped over 100 players in their wider squads. 100! This isn't just a rugby squad, it's an army built specifically for a war of attrition. Most international coaches, they're under immense pressure to win right now, meaning they stick to a tight core of maybe 30 or so players. But South Africa, they've built a system where they can seamlessly rotate world-class physical specimens without the machine missing a single beat.
Just look at the forwards returning from injury specifically for this series. Eben Etzebeth, Sia Khaleesi, Lo Djaga, Franco Mostert. These aren't just experienced players. We're talking about massive, bruising titans perfectly suited to completely dominate the collision zone. This is literally hundreds of international caps of pure, unadulterated physicality, walking right back into the squad exactly in time to face the All Blacks.
Their depth is so outrageous they can literally split their squad. One group travels to Argentina to handle business over there, while a core group stays at altitude in Johannesburg, specifically preparing to hunt the All Blacks. This depth means absolute standout form players like Evan Roos are actually left out of the squad. It means utility forwards like Pieter-Steph du Toit can just seamlessly cover multiple roles. It creates this fierce internal competition that ensures the physical standards of every single training session are absolutely through the roof.
Section 4. The Scottish Blueprint. Tactical Solution.
So, how on earth do the All Blacks actually face this physicality? How do you combat a wall of muscle that literally wants you to run straight into it? Well, there is a tactical solution we can call the Scottish blueprint, drawn from how Scotland recently managed to trouble this South African defense. Step 1. You must attack space, not size. You cannot just politely run straight into Etzebeth or Khaleesi. Step 2. Constantly move the point of contact to force those massive forwards to chase and adjust rather than letting them settle into a rhythm. And Step 3. Secure a quick ball before the defense sets. If you can move a dominant pack around enough, even the best defense in the world starts making tiny mistakes.
Section 5. Avoiding the collision zone. Executing the plan.
Let's look at exactly how New Zealand can practically apply this blueprint to avoid the collision zone. Because honestly, having a theory on how to beat the rush is one thing, executing it under the immense pressure of a Springbok rush defense is something else entirely. This is where the All Blacks specific personnel become their absolute greatest weapon. They need to utilize Damian McKenzie's rapid, precise game management to dictate the tempo. They have to exploit Will Jordan's devastating broken field speed, and they really need Jordie Barrett launching strikes from deep. When multiple playmakers are touching the ball in dangerous positions and shifting contact points rapidly, they can actually exhaust that heavy South African pack and force them to turn around.
So the crucial point is this. All of that beautiful razzle-dazzle passing, the multiple playmakers, the shifting contact points, it all fails instantly if the Springboks win the physical impact at the breakdown. If the New Zealand ball carriers fail to win that initial collision, the whole structure turns into exactly what South Africa wants: slow ball, predictable shape, and a team politely running into a green wall, one painful phase at a time.
Section 6. The ultimate test of identity. Mental fortitude. Which brings us to the psychological climax of this explainer. This series isn't just about X's and O's on a whiteboard. It is a massive battle of historical weight, mental fortitude, and absolute trust in your own identity when the pressure is at its absolute peak. Let's look at the recent history, because these numbers are incredibly uncomfortable for New Zealand. In their last 6 meetings, South Africa has won 5, including a World Cup final and a record defeat handed to the All Blacks in Wellington. Make absolutely no mistake, South Africa knows they have the psychological edge and the physical tools to dismantle the Kiwi game plan.
So, I'll leave you with this final thought. When the gain line stops being a formality, when the collisions inevitably start going backward against this terrifying Springbok pack, what will the All Blacks do? Will they trust the razzle-dazzle enough to keep playing their new brand of rugby, or will 30 years of Springbok history in their heads make them flinch and revert to the predictable rugby that got them beaten last year? We're about to find out. Check the link in my bio to watch my videos, and I'll see you next time.
Where wild passion meets the pitch.